Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. I have a question for you, and I want you to really think about your answer, your response. See, the question is, what price will you sell your silver? But more importantly, why? What circumstances, what is going to allow you to finally give up your silver? And more importantly, at what price are you willing to do so? Before we jump into this video, I want to say, please smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. I post daily videos every single day, giving you the newest, latest, freshest information in the world of precious metals. So let's jump into it. Now, this is a very deep subject because there's many different reasonings, right? There's many different things going on when someone's ready to sell. Maybe they're just ready to retire. Maybe the price is higher, so it's attractive to sell right now. There's so many different reasons why people sell, and I want you to narrow this down to just yourself. Don't try to give a generalized response, a generalized answer. I'm not trying to make a generalized video. I'm going to share how I'm going to sell, and I want you to look at some of the points I'm making, reflect upon yourself, and do that same thing for you. Because everyone has an individual silver stack. What works for me is not going to work for you. What works for you is not going to work for me, right? Because everyone has different buying time frames, different selling time frames, has a different financial situation, has more or less silver and gold than each in one, between each of each other. So it really is individual. So there's a few things we have to go over when we look at selling, right? Because selling is a very deep topic. It's so easy to go on AppMex and click buy, right? Buy, buy, buy. All you do is one click of a button, buy. But it's not so easy to sell, right? Buying is extremely easy. Selling is extremely hard, especially if you want to get the biggest bang for your buck. And this is where this topic gets a little, I guess, risky. And not only risky, but complicated. Because of course, when I ask you what price you want to sell, of course you're going to look at whatever the highest price of silver is going to be, but how do you know that that price will be the highest? How do you know that you're going to sell the top? For instance, when silver was $50 in 2011, that was the top. So everyone back then that bought it for $9 a couple years earlier should have sold it at $50 right at that 2011 peak. But they didn't know that that was the top. A lot of them thought the price was going to keep going higher, so none of them, or a lot of them, didn't even sell at $50. They waited and then missed the opportunity to sell. So I'm asking you the same question, reflecting that perspective, that instance on today. What price are you going to sell at? Would you give in at $50, or would you been one of would you been one of those people back then that would have held on and still are grateful that you did because you see silver as something much more valuable than $50? See where I'm saying how this can get a little sticky, it can get a little complicated. Now, not only that, but what's the time frame, right? Because and you can't say I don't know what the time frame is, because I feel like everyone has a general idea on how long they plan on stacking silver, right? You're not just buying specific coins and just kind of going at it blindly. You have an idea. I think deep down you do, even if you don't want to admit it, right? I don't plan on selling for at least 15, 20 years, and that's being minimal. And that's because I'm 28 years old. I have a lot of life ahead of me, and I see silver appreciating much higher than this. And it's not going to happen fast, right? I'm not saying silver is going to reach $100 tomorrow. I definitely can guarantee silver will be $100, but it's not going to be tomorrow, and it might be in 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Now, that's kind of pushing the limit, but that's definitely a reality. Precious metals are a slower moving market, and it really, if I'm looking at the time frame I'm willing to sell in, 15, 20 years, then I have all the time in the world. And silver, even at $30, is still extremely cheap in my eyes, because I see the bigger picture, because I see silver's true potential, its true intrinsic value compared to the dollar. So, when I'm looking at, and I'm saying this because if silver was let's say silver does go on a nice rally from the 2020 presidential election. Interest rates are still in a scramble. The dollar is very volatile, right? Stock markets are volatile. And it's the perfect storm for silver in the beginning of 2021. And it takes off to around $35 by mid-year. Now, everyone is going to be buying it, right? Because the $50 level is going to be the next target that it would hit if that were to happen. And it would happen pretty fast, especially with the new investors, the demand for silver, and the shortening supply. It would happen faster than ever. Now, knowing that it's going to happen faster than ever also means it's going to crash faster than ever. If it hits, and this is the situation, take this literal. If it happened within the middle of next year, I would not, or if I was going to sell, it would be on a very short notice. And that's because if it was to hit $50 from that period next year, it would not last that high at all. It would crash extremely fast because markets need to build stability. So you can kind of gauge whether or not it's a smart, safe time frame to buy or sell in by looking at how fast it's happening, right? If it would be a more gradual approach over, 5-6 years, then you probably have some time to think about this, and maybe even exchange the gold to silver ratio, or trading silver for gold or gold for silver, earning free gold or free silver. That's also a great thing that a lot of people underestimate. I definitely think that's a commonly overlooked strategy that can be extremely profitable. So I guess what I would do, because there's different scenarios, right? So I'm trying to play out each scenario. Let's say, okay, let's start from the beginning. A lot of people don't start investing into precious metals until they have money saved up, right? So let's say you got into the precious metals world. You're a younger lad, right? And you saw the videos on here. You don't really have money saved up though, so you started spending your entire paychecks or most of your paychecks on precious metals. And let's say your car breaks down and you need some expensive part. It's around $600-700. Let's say you don't have that. So then you have to sell some of your silver stack. Which silver would you sell first? Would it be the bullion? Would it be the kookaburras and the pandas? Or would it be the junk silver? You have to have, or at least I think you should have, an emergency silver stack. The silver would go first, so you don't make an impulsive or a panic-like selling decision. If you're prepared, if you know that this is the silver, if I have to sell a little bit, if money gets tight, this would be the silver for that. This is the silver over here. I'm going to hold on for the longer term, right? Even something like that can be the difference between making or losing a lot of money. So that's a very beginner type of immature type of situation. Now let's take it a little further. So let's say you invest, you're an investor, right? You put several $1,000s into silver, and you have the time frame, right? You want to invest for 10 years, but you want to take the most advantage of that. And since precious metals isn't a very fast-paced investment, in that 10-15 year frame, you want to sell at the best price. You want to sell at the top. But how are you going to know it's the top? Well, there's a couple of things. There's a couple of signals, like I was explaining earlier, but there's also there's one very important variable. You have to have a safety net. A safety net is extremely important because will allow you to avoid impulse buying and avoid panic selling. See, especially if you're in a 10-15 year time frame and time is getting short, it's running low, you're going to get a little more worried as time goes on, a little more emotionally attached, and that is also a perfect storm for worse decision making. So put a number. Say, I'm not going to sell any silver below $26, right? Because maybe you bought at $21, you want to at least make a $5 profit per ounce. So say, I'm not selling anything below $26. I don't care what it is. At least you now have a number that's a safety number. Because let's say you go into a local coin shop and you're ready to sell, and he barters you down to 24, 25. Say, no, I'm not selling under 26 or above $26, right? That's That's a strategy, and you can use it the same thing for buying as well. Say, if you want to start buying some silver, or you want to get in the market for cheap and get a discount, or go into your local coin shop, you don't want them to talk you up, go in there and say, I'm not paying more than $24 an ounce. And you have that number, you go in there, and if you stick with that, you will never make a bad purchase in your life. Most people get caught up in this because they don't have that safety number, and they impulsively make that last second decision, which burns them. So, and this is the funniest part though. For someone like me who's looking 25 years down the line, the difference between $25 and $30 silver is literally irrelevant, right? The bigger picture for silver, how valuable I really think it is, whether you're paying $25 for an ounce or $30 for an ounce, trust me, that's pennies to the dollar, right? So you don't want to overthink it. You don't want to get too technical. I've seen some people get very, very analytical on this writing. I don't want to call anyone out, so I guess I'll probably shut my mouth. But they take it a little too far, in my opinion. I mean, if that's what works for them, if that's how they strategize, if that's how the numbers seem right in their head, and that's how they keep a balanced stack, then good for them. It's just not the way I like it, right? I have an AppMex account. Every time I click buy on AppMex, it shoots it in my portfolio, and it tells me how much my stack is, how many ounces I have, how much it's appreciated since I bought that coin, right? It tells me everything. I don't need to do all that, but some people like that comfort, that control. So, anyways, I know that I didn't really give a straightforward answer, so I'll try to. Since I started buying silver around $15, and I know that silver is worth at least $100, and I know that I'm not selling for 25 years down the line, I definitely can tell you in 25 years, even $100 silver will be extremely cheap. Think about how much would change in 2.5 decades. Think about all the different presidents. Think about all the different changes in the economy, the society, the dollar, right? What would the dollar look like? What would the dollar's value be in 25 years? What would the purchasing power of the dollar be? How much money, how many trillions of dollars in debt would we be? What would the world look like? I know gold and silver will always be valuable. It has for 5,000 years. It's not going anywhere. So looking that far down the line and applying what I just said, even $100 silver is penny. It's nothing to me. If you're looking for a much shorter term, then that's a high number. But when you put it in perspective from the time frame I'm looking at selling, you really don't know, because silver's price is unknown. Anytime we look at silver's price, we're pegging it to a time in history where the dollar index was a certain, was at a certain level. Stock markets were volatile, right? What's happening in the economy with politics, and that's what silver's price is based off during that specific time in history, in time. But what happens when silver's price isn't pegged to stock market volatility? What happens when silver's price doesn't matter what the dollar index is to affect or reflect or factor in with silver's price, right? That's why we really don't know silver's true value. That's why it's unknown, because when you take away all the variables that won't be there at one point in time, or won't have this much pull because supply and demand will be the main factors pulling it, then we have a real number, and that number is unknown. It's a huge question mark right now because it's never happened. So anyways, and it has happened before we got before we got rid of the gold standard, back when the gold to silver ratio was around 8-to-1, 6-to-1, 8-to-1. And if we look at that, that's $200-300 silver if we're talking about $3,000-4,000 gold. So that's a number if you want to hear anything. I definitely think silver's more valuable than $100, $50. You could call me a silver pumper if you want, but remember, silver was $50 not even 10 years ago, and things in the economy weren't even that extreme. $1 billion stimulus packages back then, which led to $50 silver. We have $1 trillion stimulus packages right now in today's time. So what's keeping that from reaching $50 silver? Plus more, we have a global pandemic. Times are crazier, expect crazier prices. Just don't sell yourself short. That's the whole point of this video. Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell at $30. You will be kicking yourself in the butt in a couple of years. Don't sell it at $40. You got to remember the bigger picture. This isn't stock markets. This isn't even cryptocurrency. There's a lot more potential here, and silver is a lot more valuable than all of those things combined. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your response, your answer, your time frame, your price. I would love to hear it. Let me know. I want to hear the ins and outs. I want to hear your thought pattern, your perspective, and insight. Just like I gave you mine, I gave you my reasonings on the different situations of what would happen and how I would play that situation. So I hope you've learned something. I hope you can now apply this to your own stack and be more prepared. Anyways, thanks for tuning in this video. Make sure to smash the like button. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.